Well, hey, you, and welcome back to another episode of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. I'm your host, Miss Michaela Mae, and today my friend Landon and I are sitting down and doing another movie review. So, Landon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
So, so one of the reasons Landon and I started this series is because I believe it was actually our acting teacher in film school had made a joke. Maybe Sonora, our screenwriting teacher, might have made this joke as well, that I should have been kicked out of film school for my lack of movie watching. And the good Lord put Landon in charge of getting me caught up on movies and the rest of us as well. I think that's one of Landon's missions to complete on Earth is to make sure the majority of the population see these iconic movies, for lack of a better term. And so we've been making our way through. We got through Star Wars, I think was like my first mission. And then let's see, what else have we done? The Mission Impossible series, Top Gun, Back to the Future. And this last weekend, I finally watched the Batman movies. And one of Lord of the Rings is on that list as well. And one of the things I really try to do is I try not to talk to Landon too much until we record the podcast so that we have my completely like raw reactions. But the Batman movies hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting. And I had to talk to Landon yesterday prior to recording this podcast because yeah, it was just one of those moments. And I'm actually really glad we did because between us talking yesterday and us talking today, I had a revelation. And the revelation came from a question that you asked when I told you, like, Back to the Future like hit me in the heart. Like there was just this love that we don't get to see in these movies, like between
hmm
like a mentor and a mentee. Like that was like Doc and Marty. Like we don't see that all the time anymore. So like that hit me in the heart. Lord of the Rings and even Star Wars, like the hero's journey. And then I told you like something about Batman like shifted my soul. And you asked yesterday specifically what movie. And so after we got off the phone, I was like, that's such a good question. Because I watched them so back to, we knew it wasn't the third one, but
Yeah.
whether it
Well,
was,
we should
yeah.
clarify
Oh, yeah.
these aren't just like there's a lot of Batman movies. So these are
Oh,
the Christopher Nolan Dark
okay.
Knight Batman movies because there are, there was like there was there was Tim Burton did two Batman and then there was the Val Kilmer one, the George Clooney one. Like it was a rough time for live action Batman for a long time until
Mm,
Christopher Nolan dropped Batman Begins in 2005.
yeah.
And these are kind of like I feel like it's a good introduction to the character for someone who like you who's not familiar with like the Batman lore. I do feel like it's a good introduction because some of the other ones can kind of be a little bit interesting, I guess, where
Mhm.
these have a more realistic vibe to them and they're more grounded. We'll just say that.
Mhm. And this is why Landon's here because my assumption is that there's only one
Yeah,
Batman movie
yeah,
because that's
exactly.
where this is why Landon's here. Multiple reasons why you're here, but that's one of the main reasons because I'm like everyone knows what Batman I'm talking about, right? No. Yes. So, uh, and so I thought about it after we got off the phone because since I watched Batman Begins and The Dark Knight like back to back, because I was so stoked about getting to Heath Ledger's performance, I didn't
Mhm.
really stop and think about it. And it was the first one because, and like what you and I talked about on the phone, was because of Bruce Wayne's journey.
Mhm.
And so there is like one of the things that you and I have talked about, because one of the things I was just getting in my head about when you and I were doing these movie reviews is like, how does it fit into the podcast? And ultimately, it's like, because we're all on our own hero's journey. And I
Yeah.
think different movies reflect the journeys that we are personally on and just where I'm at in my life right now of it, like Bruce Wayne's journey just spoke to me. And even like what we talked about yesterday a little bit is when Liam Neeson's character says about like you're using your anger to like hide
Mhm.
the guilt. And like I've told you, guilt is a emotion that I've experienced a lot, and I feel safer with anger than with guilt. And so watching Bruce Wayne become Batman, and I rewatched. I didn't get to watch the whole thing last night because I fell asleep, but I started rewatching it, and even in the moment where they ask Bruce to execute the guy that was a murderer, and he said no, and like his compassion is what sets him apart. I actually didn't realize how much I resonated with that moment because there's been multiple times in my life where I've been a part, like of a community or something, and when it goes away that's not in alignment, I've had to step away. And so even I really resonated with the part of like this community that like helped you become everything you needed to become, and then there comes a moment you have to step away and do the right thing and not like the common thing. And so yeah, that movie, like, it just hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. So thank you for the question, and so I could reflect on it until today. Yeah.
It's funny because I knew that you would resonate with that stuff. That's why I was like, you have to watch Batman Begins, like, like, you know, the hero's journey, and that's why. So this, by the way, the other Batman movies do not have any of this stuff in it. Like, or if it does, it's very sidelined. That's what sets this trilogy apart from other Batman stuff. Is they really let's get into Bruce's like psyche and really like show him before he was Batman, because the other movies he's just Batman and there might be a couple flashbacks to his parents dying or something, but this one like really is like, let's just get in there and do the origin story, which no one had done, you know, at that point. So yeah, and it makes it makes Batman feel real, like someone could be Batman, you know, much more than just like a comic book superhero. And I think that's what really spoke to me when it came out, because I'd been a Batman fan since like I was like 2 years old, and I used to watch the animated series, which, if anyone hasn't seen the Batman animated series, it's some of the best Batman stuff that's ever been done. But that was always my Batman. I didn't really have a live action Batman until this movie came out, because we didn't grow up really with the Tim Burton ones, or they were too creepy and weird for me when I was a kid. Like Batman Returns especially is really dark, and I like it now, but when I was a kid I was just like, I don't even know what this is. Like it didn't have like a Batman being a hero. It was more like a horror movie. And then the first Batman movie I saw in the theater was the Val Kilmer one in 95, and I was like 4 years old. So like Val Kilmer was Batman to me when I was a kid, but I never really liked the movie that much. Like I didn't watch it when I got older. It was just something that we watched when I was a kid. And but Val Kilmer to me, I was just like, oh, that's Batman, even though he only did one movie, and that was kind of it. And then George Clooney replaced him, and that movie is just a whole nother thing. Like it's one of the worst movies ever made. It's kind of entertaining to watch. Like it would be funny if you went back and watched that, because it has a completely different interpretation of the Bane character that is pretty hysterical, like comparing the two. But yeah, so when that came out, I didn't even like it. I mean, I think I was 6 years old when it came out, 6 or 7. And even I was like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on here. So finally, in 2005, Batman Begins came out. And I remember I was 14, and me and my brother were really excited about it. The trailers were like dark, but not like, you know, not like too dark, but like for the time, it was just a perfect tone for Batman that we hadn't seen on the big screen. And then it came out, and we loved it. I mean, we saw it like 3 times in the theater. Christian Bale became my favorite actor. It was like Tom Cruise, Christian Bale. I don't know. I did a deep dive in all his previous work, which I was telling you on the phone is very interesting career, because he was so method and like just crazy when he was younger. He took all these dark kind of roles, and so for him to kind of become Batman and give a kind of tame performance and really like leaning into like the you know, what makes Bruce tick and everything. He kind of internalized his method for it, and I just thought he was a great Bruce Wayne and Batman, and easily the best that we've had in live action up to that point, or even now. And he got so big. I mean, he did a movie previous where, I don't know, I was gonna send you a picture. It's disturbing when you see it, because he was literally skin and bones. He looks like a you know, Holocaust survivor or victim, whatever you want to say. But he's that. His ribs are showing and everything, because he was playing this character that didn't sleep for a year and his body was deteriorating, and he actually did it for real. and I think he's a big guy. He's like 6'2", and he got down to like 100 something pounds. It's just crazy. And then he got the Batman job right after, and he bulked up to like 200 pounds. He just, it's really crazy. I don't know how he did it. And yeah, so he became my like favorite actor for a while. He still is, but he's getting older now, and I don't think his roles are as, the movies he's in now aren't as good as what they were. But yeah, and then Christopher Nolan, the director, he was really on our radar, and I still follow everything he does, and he does a lot of big spectacle movies with IMAX cameras. That's like his whole thing. And they're just, he's really trying to keep movies like on film and in theaters. And sorry, I'm getting some static here. Do you hear anything?
Mm-mm. Not at
Okay,
all.
I'll ignore it. But yeah, so this movie for me in my like filmmaking journey, whatever you want to call it, it was one of those, because we love superhero movies in the 2000s. But when this one hit, there was like a superhero but cinema quality to it that really, the two worlds kind of meshed, and it felt like you were watching a movie rather than like a superhero movie. And then it even pushed it even further with Dark Knight 3 years later, which we'll get into later in this episode.
I love that you put it that way, because I hadn't put words to that, but it really does feel like you're watching a movie and
Yeah,
not a superhero movie. Yeah.
there was something just different about it, and
Mhm.
we just yeah, it was just came out the perfect time for us, me and my brother, because we were just getting into movies, but we still love the superhero stuff because it's just what we grew up with, and we hadn't seen like a Batman movie that we really loved in live action. And then this was just like, this was it, so it was really, really cool when it came out.
Do you have a favorite scene from Batman Begins?
Favorite scene? I do love, like, I guess when I think of the movie, obviously there's like the action stuff, but I think what really hits emotionally is when the house gets set on fire, and the bad guys are closing in and everything, and they just had a little moment in the elevator with Alfred and Bruce, and then you're just like, Alfred's like, what I love about this character is the relationship between him and Alfred. Alfred's his dad, really. It's kind of like Goose or Maverick and Rooster in Top Gun Maverick, kind of. And they fight and they bicker, and then it's like, that is like a father-son relationship. But yeah, that scene in the elevator where he just says, "You never gave up on me, Alfred," and he says, "Never." That's like, it's one of those, and it's like, he's at his lowest again, and Alfred's there to bring him up, and that's what the dynamic is about with Alfred and Bruce. And I think this movie did a really good job. They had great chemistry, those two, as well. You
100%.
really feel like old friends.
100%.
So that scene comes to mind. Probably should have rewatched it. I've seen it like 100 times, but I'll go with that scene. What about you from that movie?
I didn't exactly warn you what I was going to ask you either, so it's always fun.
I'm sure something else would come to mind.
Yeah, I do think it's the scene where they ask him to execute and he says no. I really think that I was thinking about it in context of Save the Cat, and I feel like that was Bruce's Save the Cat moment of, because the Save the Cat moment is like, because if he would have really went with the League of Shadows, he could have become Ra's al Ghul. Like, he could have been.
He just would have been another pawn in the, another one of the guys, But yeah, he makes that decision. I guess you can say that's the catalyst, right? There's probably a few catalysts, but that's the big one. And I like how they give it time, and you're looking just at his eyes, and he makes that decision internally. And yeah, the rest is like Batman Begins, like right there,
And even him just saying it's his compassion that'll set him apart, I think Jordan Peterson has this spiel about the hero has to be a monster because the hero has to have a certain amount of monster in him to stand up to the monster. But then there always has to be that I kind of call it the tightrope line of which way are you going to go? Are you going to go full hero or full monster? And something like compassion is the thing that can, decipher the hero from the monster. And so to me, that is just a really beautiful moment when Bruce decides to be the hero and not just another monster with all this, power and skill that and we know he's clever, because that scene before, I loved that moment too, where they're like, you have to, I can't remember the exact line, but where you have to not leave any evidence or something. And he's like, I didn't. And he just, puts the blade to the back of Liam Neeson's character. And that whole scene, I do love it. Yeah. So as of right now, who knows after I watch the movie 100 more times, but
Yeah. When again, this is the first movie that showed us Batman doing any kind of training. There's different lores to Batman. Like I think the original one is Alfred kind of trains him up. But this one, I like how they set him like on this journey, and the character Ra's al Ghul, I knew him from like the cartoon. But I really like Liam Neeson's portrayal of him, and it's a great because he's like a bad guy, but he says things that aren't crazy, and actually a lot of his stuff helps Bruce, but Bruce turns it into something to help people rather than destroy. And it goes into his whole thing about his wife and everything. So they have they're in like a similar place when Bruce goes there, but then Bruce's decision to do it a different way, I guess.
Yeah, because we all have bad stuff happen to us, but it's like what we do with it. Do we go towards Ra's al Ghul, Darth Vader, or do we go towards what Bruce did? And no, it's great. I look because do you know the runtime? Because he doesn't become Batman till at least halfway through the movie with the backstory and everything.
Yeah, the movie's probably like it's over 2 hours, like 2:20, something like that. Yeah, but it keeps you like engaged in it, right? And then when he does become Batman, you're like, oh yeah, like it's a Batman movie.
It's such a good payoff because you've been waiting and you get to see this build up, and then it's like, he gets on the plane when Alfred picks him up, and even I think that makes you love Alfred too. Even with Bruce gone, he's still. We see that in the dynamic on the plane. And even I love the joke of like, oh, you're going to have a symbol or a mask to stay hidden. And he's like, oh, you thinking about Rachel? He's like, no, I was thinking about me.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's so great. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff between Alfred and Bruce. They did that well. I feel like that's the one thing all these Batman movies get right is that relationship. And it's all a little bit different with the actors' portrayals, but it's really what makes Batman like a great character is that dynamic between those two.
So I kind of want to mention there, I don't know if you've heard of this term, but in horse training, there's a term called green, and it's just a term meaning unexperienced. So if you have a green horse, you've started riding them, but they don't have the experience, and you wouldn't put someone that is inexperienced on a green horse because they're more unpredictable when they're quote unquote green. And so I just want to mention how green I was to Batman because I did not even know like I texted you. So I kind of assumed, okay, I'm just going to call myself out. One of the other series Landon we watched probably 6 months ago, maybe 7-8 months ago, was Spider-Man. I did not know, spoiler alert for anybody else who's like me and have been living under a rock, I didn't know Uncle Ben died. Like I was a little bit traumatized. I was texting Landon, I like paused the movie and was like, Landon, WTF, Uncle Ben? Like, because I didn't know, I always knew about Aunt May from Spider-Man. I had no idea there was an Uncle Ben. So when the movie introduced Uncle Ben, I'm like, I love this actor, I love this character, and then all of a sudden the SOB is just dead in the streets. And so I didn't know. So from that backstory, I assumed Batman was going to lose someone. I didn't know he was going to lose both of his parents. So again, I paused the movie and was like, Landon, mom and dad, WTF? Like, what do you mean? Like, not just one no, both just gone. I'm like, okay, here we go.
I think my reaction was both times was everyone on Earth knows that Uncle Ben dies and Bruce's parents die. Like everyone knows that.
Not everyone, Landon.
Yeah.
I expected when Dad came down the well, I was like, okay, Dad's gonna go. Like that's here we go. I didn't think Mom was gonna go too. I was like,
So I
okay,
do want to point
whatever.
out there's a criticism with a lot of Christopher Nolan movies that his female characters are not the best. And every time I watch Batman Begins, I go, they did not give this woman, his mother, anything to do. She's not even a human being. She's just there. The dad's got all this wisdom and all this stuff. There's not even like a loving moment with the mom and him, and she's just kind of walking around. And that's like a big criticism with Christopher Nolan movies. Is the women are always kind of just there for the men to interact with. Well, yeah, the mom is like, I don't know. It's for. I just like. I wish there was just one scene with the mom and Bruce just to show that they are actually, mother and son. But
So to address the elephant in the room, is that why Rachel is so bad, or is
yeah,
Rachel genuinely just bad in all the like?
I don't know. That character's made up. It's not a comic book character. It's
Okay.
But yeah, she's a Christopher Nolan female character.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I had texted you this in the middle of what I don't think I'd finished the third one yet over the weekend, and I kind of felt like a jerk because I'm like, am I supposed to like Rachel? Because I want to throat punch this character.
I never liked her. Me and my brother were joking around. We kind of knew she was gonna die, just because we've seen so many movies in the Dark Knight. Spoiler alert. But we thought because there's a you remember when the Joker kind of drops her out the window?
Kind of. Let her go. Poor choice of words.
They showed like a quick shot of that in the trailer, and we're like, "Oh my god, he's gonna throw her out the window!" So when we watched the movie the first time, we were like, "Oh, okay, she's alive. Well, maybe there's still time. There's still time to kill her." And then she just And then I think by the time she was like captured and everything, we weren't even thinking that she was gonna die. We're like, she's not gonna die, and then she just blows up. It's like, oh man. The Joker is quite the rascal, isn't he?
Yeah. I want to just loop before we jump into that. I just want to loop back to Rachel. Where I lost it is when she slaps Bruce in the face, like twice. That car scene just, I don't know why there was a moment of like, because I think, there's really beautiful dynamics in men and women's relationships, right? Like men at their best is like the stability that women just don't have on their own. And I believe women at their best have this intuition and inner insights that they can provide to men that maybe men don't have, right? It's kind of like you see with these eyes, I see with these eyes. And when we come together, we can help each other see through the blind spots the other has. Like that's what I think one of the beautiful things about dynamics between men and women can be when men and women are both like at their best. And so I think there was just this really beautiful opportunity for Rachel because like there were some things she wasn't wrong about. And we could argue that she was one of the determining factors of why Bruce said no and didn't give up on the compassion. And it was like in that moment, instead of just saying it, when she went to the point of just slapping him in the face, it was just so degrading. I couldn't come back from that moment with that character.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a reasonable reaction. He just admitted that he was going to kill a guy and probably either get killed himself or go to jail for the rest of his life. And that is the moment where he throws the gun. It's very symbolic. Batman doesn't use guns, doesn't kill. But like that's the moment where like the most important person in his life really like was disgusted with him.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Your father would be ashamed of you." I mean, that cut him deep. You could just see it. And again, it's one of those moments for him to like throwing his gun away and then going to see Falcone. Like was he just going to go kill Falcone in that state he was in? I think there's a lot there, and then like going to see Falcone and saying like, I just want to show you that not everyone in Gotham's afraid of you, and just really building the blocks of what he's going to do as Batman.
Okay, thank you for providing that insight, because I can see. I still am. Do you think it was necessary from like a film perspective? Do you think she could have got the point across without slapping him, or do you think like no, actually that would? Because the first slap, honestly, I can forgive. It was the double slap that I was just like, I can't.
I mean, I'm a believer that sometimes people need to get slapped to
Okay,
get some sense in them. The slap never bothered me. I never thought of it that way.
really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just imagine if someone that you knew and loved was just admitted to you that, oh yeah, I was gonna fucking kill him, and then that guy beat me to it. It's just like this person is like on a not a good path. So yeah, that scene, I'll put that scene. I do love that scene too, like him throwing the gun, and like he could have made a huge mistake, that would have altered, and then he would have just been a bitter, crazy Arkham prisoner, or like he's on every. The thing I love about Batman, he's on his every reason to be one of the crazies in Gotham. Because Gotham's full of these crazy people, and Batman is one of them. But he's on this like path of righteousness, but he is mentally unstable, like all the villains that he's fighting all the time. And so I think the movie did a good job showing that he could have just been another murdering, vengeful psychopath.
Yeah, I know you're making me think about that scene even like deeper, because I'm yeah, I'm trying to think, like, if I was in her shoes, the person I love the most had said that, like, how would I respond? And I could see responding like, you're better than that, and your father wouldn't want that for you.
Yeah.
And I am known to punch things. So, like, speaking of punching things, you almost got punched watching E.T. because I'm like, Landon, if this alien goes, you and I are I'm gonna, like, you and Christine are just sitting there. I'm like, someone's getting punched. So I'm like, okay, I could kind of.
It's probably, maybe that's why you have a problem with it, because you're like, I would probably do that.
Maybe.
And I don't like it. No, I think I never thought of it as being. I always thought it was a reasonable reaction, and he was just such a emo, like, when he comes back, he's moping around, and he's just not in a good place.
And maybe I'd feel differently about it if I didn't feel like she was kind of playing him like a fiddle for the rest of it. Like, even.
Yeah, you have all the reason to hate her in the second one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you even realize it's a different actor?
I did, because I kept, and I didn't know, I was going to ask you if they did this because then there's a cop in the second one that they're very similar. And the first time I watched, like, they're both brown hair, kind of similar facial angles. And I'm like, did they do that to kind of take away that it is a different actor? And so it's like you're kind of confused enough to, the police officer I'm talking about.
The female police officer.
Yeah, they have like very. I don't remember her name, but they have very similar. Think? Yeah, I do. Like, just the first time watching it. Oh, I don't think they did it on purpose per se.
I don't think they look the same. I think you're tripping.
Oh, dude,
one's like Hispanic. The other one's Maggie Gyllenhaal. Right? The girl cop. Ramirez.
I did just.
There's only one girl cop, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I had to stop and.
Well, we could. This is a fun Tom Cruise connection. So, Batman Begins came out that year, the Tom Cruise Katie Holmes year, 2005. Oh, okay. And we don't really know why she was recast, but there is a rumor. I don't know if it's true, that Tom Cruise told her not to take it because he didn't want her career to advance. I don't think that's true. I think. And then she was in another movie around the same time. I don't know. Christopher Nolan was pressured to put her in it because she was in Dawson's Creek, and Warner Brothers produced Batman Begins, and they wanted to make her a movie star. Because she's not very good. There were so many better actors at the time. She was kind of a baffling. Everyone's great in the movie, and she's like kind of bad. I would say Maggie Gyllenhaal better actor, but the character's like sucks anyway, right? So I don't know. Katie Holmes always felt miscast though, and I think it was he didn't have a lot of control. He was like a new Hollywood director, and he got,
Mm,
so I think it was kind of like, you're going to put Katie Holmes in this movie, and he's probably like, do I have a choice? Like, I don't think he would
right.
pick her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? You have all these great actors and Katie Holmes,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Yeah. And who knows, when I watch it a couple of times, because when you're new, you're just like trying
Yeah.
to keep track. And like for me, other than the main characters, I don't pick up on names. And so when I saw that one actress next to Gordon, I thought it was Rachel at first. And it took me a minute I think it was in the, I did. So yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, because I genuinely
you
thought, I'm
also
like,
you also
is this
thought
intentional?
I was talking about Snape when I mentioned
Yeah.
Maryland, so
That
I think
might have
it's a
been
you
just
problem.
that this might have just been I was telling Landon like prior to Thanksgiving break, we're filming this a couple days after Thanksgiving, 4 days like after 5, 6, who knows, I don't even know this is, and I didn't realize like how tired I was from I just had a really crazy couple of weeks prior to Thanksgiving. And so I think I started watching them on Friday after Thanksgiving. And I proceeded to sleep like 12 to 14 hours a night and just like chilled the whole time. And so Landon had said, "Did you pick up that Gordon is Sirius Black?" And when I read your text, my brain went to Severus Snape for some. I'm like, that is not Snape. And it like I had to read his text like 3 times. I'm like, serious, Michaela, serious. And I was like, no, I still didn't pick up that was the same person. So
Yeah, it's there's probably a lot of people that don't realize, that don't know movies or whatever, that love Harry
yeah,
Potter and Batman, that are just like, because it's a different guy,
totally.
it's a completely different guy.
Yeah. Well, and I think like what you and I have talked about is I feel like you're better at picking up the small details on the first watch of a movie than I am. Like the first watch that I have, I'm like the story and the characters is what I'm tracking. And then if I just genuinely like the movie, if I'm picking up on editing and other things the first time on a watch, it's usually because the movie's bad.
Yeah.
Hence Elvis. Like if I'm noticing like that stuff like that the first watch, it's probably not good. Um, and so I just know that about myself. I'm not going to pick up on these small details usually till after the third, fourth watch, or you've pointed stuff out to me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I still don't think I would have picked up that was Sirius Black because yeah, it's just too, and the facial hair too. Um,
Hmm.
my sister and I were actually just talking about this. It's really fascinating to me, because women can kind of like cut their hair, dye their hair, and become like a totally different person. And I feel like it's the same for men with facial hair.
Oh
Like
yeah.
a man can look like totally
Yeah.
different man with different facial hair. So,
But just
um,
his cadence and the way he talks is,
yeah,
like I said, Gary Oldman's another actor who was completely insane when he was younger and always played these crazy, screaming maniacs, and then to go to Gordon and just be like a calm, chill guy, it's crazy. And people probably don't realize it's him.
because you were saying like he plays more characters like Sirius when Sirius is like crazy from
Yeah.
Azkaban, right? Yeah,
And
yeah.
he was getting kind of typecast in those roles. So I was telling you that Nolan approached him to play Ra's al Ghul, and he was just like, "Let me take a look at some other characters. I'm tired of playing villains." So, and he picked Gordon. I think it worked out.
I do too. I was thinking about that yesterday after we talked as well about why I feel like I have a soft spot for Gordon as much as I do. And again, with like I think movies being just a really great way for like self-discovery and kind of self-insight is like why do you like one character more than the other? And I love the dynamic between Alfred and Bruce, but there was something about the dynamic
Yeah.
between
Well,
Batman and
that's the
Gordon.
another thing. The Batman thing is his relationship with Gordon and
Mm,
Alfred, because it's Alfred and Bruce, and then it's Batman and Gordon. Like Gordon doesn't know
mm,
who he's Bruce Wayne. He's just dealing with this guy that's insane, probably, but like seems to be. Like that's why they did a good job in this movie with Gordon being the outsider with the corruption and just like trusting this guy in the bat suit to, you know, like
yeah.
that's just one of the great classic Batman things.
Hmm. Yeah, and what I realized is because Alfred has a different concern for Bruce than Gordon does.
Yeah,
Because Gordon's primate is get the city safe, where Alfred is like it's Bruce,
yeah,
as his son, for lack of a better term. And I realized like that moment what you said about Bruce never giving up on Gordon, or on Alfred never giving up on
hmm,
Bruce. I was like, I don't. What I'm not concerned about is like whether people have given up on me or whether I've given up on myself. But something I do look for is support, and I felt like Gordon gave Batman the support that he
yeah,
needed, and so it was a really interesting like, oh, that's why I'm so drawn to Gordon, because something that I look for in my own personal life is like support more than
hmm,
someone never giving up, and so that was a really interesting insight as well.
yeah. Well, do you want to move on to Dark Knight?
I was gonna, if you weren't gonna say it, I was gonna say it. So, uh, yeah, Heath
Yeah,
Ledger,
so
man.
The Dark Knight is a movie I'm completely obsessed with. I've been obsessed with it since it came out in 2008, and I was thinking about it today. Not only is it a great movie and it's Batman and all that stuff, but it came out in a time in my life. I just graduated high school. I was, going to be 18. It's that weird cross, like when anyone who's an adult, just think about that time in your life. It's such a weird time, mental state, everything. You're like changing to an adult. You're like still a kid. You're like, it's just crazy. And I'd been following the production because that's what I do for The Dark Knight. It probably got announced in like '06. It was probably started production in '07. And this is the early days of YouTube. And they were shooting all around Chicago, and people would take these really crappy like cell phone videos and like post them on YouTube. Of like, one of them was the big hospital explosion.
Mm,
So I go on YouTube. What's this? It's sometime in '07. Hospital explodes. The Dark Knight's gonna be crazy. That's a cool explosion.
mhm,
And so the hype was unbelievable. The only previous hype I could say would be Spider-Man 3, which we got disappointed by previous year. But the hype for the Dark Knight was just something. And then in February of '08, we find out that Heath Ledger passed when the movie was already shot, but it was in post production. And that was just such a, like, I think everybody remembers where they were. Everyone I talked to remembers where they were when that happened. It was such a, and it's not even like, it's like Heath Ledger was big enough. Everyone knew who he was, but he was about to be like one of the big ones,
mhm,
with this movie and this performance. And it was just, we were all so excited to see what he brought, because just what we saw from the previews and the pictures looked insane. And then him dying, everybody was like going to work, and it was just, everyone was talking about it. And it's not like it was just very weird. And then so that time from February to July, there was like this weird stillness to the like release of the movie.
mm,
There was something in the air. But we were so like, everyone was excited about it. And it just added fuel to, I think, people that would maybe not cared so much about the sequel to the Batman Begins got interested in the movie. So that's why that's one reason why it was so successful. But you know we were actually in Canada on our visiting family when it came out, and me, my brother, and our cousin Evan went to see it.
mm,
And I was so hyped for this movie that I didn't even know how to process the movie. And I kind of left not
interesting.
disappointed, but underwhelmed,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know what I wanted from this thing. So then we went to see it again, and it started to come in. I remember I was like, the finale was so like, that was it, really, like construction site, like that was, and then you see it again, you see it a third time, see it a fourth time, see it a fifth time, and all the juices start marinating about like what the bigger themes of the movie were, and it just became an instant classic, and I just couldn't get enough of it, and to this day I'm still obsessed with it completely. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with the Dark Knight. But now I have this nostalgia, like similar to Lord of the Rings. I love the movies when they came out, but now I have this nostalgia and just that time in my life and being young, and it's just crazy that it's going to be 20 years, like in 3 years. It's just, I'm having a problem with that. Because it's one thing when a movie that comes out when you're 11 turns 20,
Yeah.
but when one comes out when you're 17 turns 20, then you're like really in trouble.
we won't do math
because I still live in that world I was in when that movie was like in the air. And I told you about it was like November, December 2007. I Am Legend with Will Smith came out, and before, if you saw the movie in IMAX, they had the whole prologue, the bank heist sequence from Dark Knight. They played that before the movie, and it was unbelievable. I mean, we were just like buzzing from this. It was like it just so I guess I can get into it. This is Dark Knight's the first like narrative Hollywood movie to use IMAX cameras to shoot some of it with. Where IMAX was developed, I think, and I want to say in like the 70s. I could be wrong. Maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was later. I don't know. But it was basically 70 millimeter film that goes into the camera. It's like if you have this big piece of 70 millimeter. Oh my god, I think I have one here somewhere. Maybe. Oh, I do. I have a film cell from Interstellar that is a piece of IMAX film.
Oh, wow.
So a 35 millimeter film is probably maybe like this big in comparison. So 70 millimeter typically would run this way. And then they flipped it, and you get this huge picture.
Oh, wow.
Sorry if it's kind of glary.
I think that's a good spot, yeah.
So this is just an example of how big the film is. I don't have a 35. Oh, actually, so I don't have a 35 to compare it, but I do have some regular 70 millimeter to compare from the movie Tenet. Another Christopher Nolan movie. So that's regular 70 millimeter, and this is IMAX 70 millimeter.
Oh, wow.
So 35 is even smaller than this.
That's cool.
So when you look at this projected, now it's different now because everyone's so ingrained with digital projection. I don't think people like understand or care. But like I grew up with 35 millimeter in movie theaters, and it had a look. You were used to it. It's kind of like a fuzzy. It's what the movies looked like back then. And I was always fascinated by it. I would see the spots and everything, and I was always looking at the projection because I was obsessed with it. I was like, always a nerd about this stuff. So when this movie comes out and they go, oh, we're shooting on these IMAX cameras, and then there's going to be sequences where like the picture will expand up, and it was just stunning. I mean, it would never see anything like that. Now movies do it kind of all the time, so it's not as special, but it was just the clarity and everything just gets, even on the 4K disc, you can tell when the IMAX scenes show up. It's just cool. Yeah. But this was a big deal, and it was a big marketing thing. And I actually didn't see it projected on a proper IMAX screen until the 10-year anniversary when I was living in LA, and I got to see it the way it was, on the big City Walk screen. So that was like it took me 10 years to kind of see it in the proper format, but it was worth it. It was very cool. But so that's kind of my streamlined. Can't even do it justice. Like if I'm ever bored or just have nothing to do, I'll just put The Dark Knight in and just skip around, and because it's just there's something about like the music, and I know you're watching it on a computer, but next time you're here, maybe we'll just watch it in my room so you can really hear the bass and the. This movie had the most like intense bass in the IMAX. Your chest is literally pounding, and it just adds to it. It's just a whole nother aspect of it.
Dynamic.
Yeah, and it's just yeah. There's just nothing like it when it came out. It was just everything was the marketing and everything was just handled very well.
Would you, if you had to rate the three, would it be Dark Knight Rises, then Batman Begins for you?
Dark Knight, not Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, The Dark Knight is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean,
yeah.
But that being said, there are aspects that I appreciate more in Batman Begins. Like I was telling you, The Dark Knight, the way it deals with Gotham as a city is kind of lame. Like it's just Chicago. They didn't do any set dressing to try to make it's kind of. This one's more about the corruption within Gotham, whereas Batman Begins shows you like the Narrows. I don't even know where the Narrows are in Dark Knight. They don't show them at all. But So sometimes I appreciate the cinematography of Batman Begins a little bit more. It's a little bit more moody. Where the Dark Knight was like, because they were using IMAX, they kind of just shot Chicago, you know, and it's a different feel to it. I like both of them,
Right.
you know, and then they kind of tried to merge them a little bit in the last one, but the Dark Knight just as a movie is one of my favorite movies. I just love it. But you know, I knew you would like Batman Begins the most because of the Bruce Wayne character stuff. He's kind of sidelined in the second one, and it's more about the city of Gotham dealing with this murderous clown, you know. And then there's kind of little things that deal with Bruce. Like I like the line that Bruce has where he says like, I see now what I have to become to stop men like this. And then it's going back to like, you know, his dilemma in the first movie about, you know, because like he could just kill the Joker and like end it all, right? Like, but that goes against his whole thing. And that's always been the dynamic between those two characters. Is like in the cartoon and in the movies, the Joker's always just doing stuff, and it's like, dude, just kill him, please, like, and it'll all stop. But it's not, you know. And the Joker knows that about him, and then he kind of uses it against him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think now that's probably one of the other things that I have is, you know, because in the first one he's becoming Batman, but then, you know, he's really trying to hang up his cape and have Harvey take over in the
Yeah,
second, in a way, you know, so that's
that's the one thing
probably.
about this trilogy. That maybe I don't love is that it makes it unique to this version of Batman, but like he's trying to like get out, and it's like you just started, like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's comics where Batman's been Batman for like decades, and he's old and grizzled, and this Batman's like I'm been in it, but he's trying to save the city, and yeah, and he wants a normal life, and he sees Harvey as the guy that could do it without running around at night in a mask. He could just do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what makes this movie so great. Is just the Joker's just there to mess it all up, you know.
Mm-hmm. In the backstory, where did the Joker come from? Was he like a or do we not really know? Was he a member or like a local, I guess, or did he come into the city or
You mean in general or in the movie? In this movie specifically?
both, I guess would be.
Well, this movie they went the route they didn't want to tell us anything about the Joker,
Hmm.
which makes it mysterious and cool.
Yeah.
The Tim Burton Batman movie, they made the Joker the guy who killed Bruce's parents, and he becomes the Joker later. I don't know. No one likes that. That's a stupid origin. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't I don't know if I don't think the original comics had an origin. I think they might have done series later that different writers had origins for the Joker, but it's kind of always better when he's just like not explained. And in this one, I like, you know, he has the scars on his face and he tells people different like lies about how it happened. So you're just like, you can't trust anything this guy says. Like he's completely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love, you know, it's kind of building up that Batman needs to kill the Joker, and the Joker wants that to happen. He's like that obsessed with breaking this character, this guy. And at the end, when he's got him, and he's about to watch the boats explode, and and the Joker's, you know, got the cage on him, and he's got him down, and he says, and he goes like, "Oh, it's a funny world we live in." And he goes, "Oh, you know how I got these scars?" Speaking of, and then he goes, "No, but I know how you got these."
I
And he
love
shoots
that.
him out, and he throws him over, and it's that moment. It's like he's laughing because in his mind he's like, "I won. I got him to kill me." And then he shoots him and he pulls him back up. That's great.
Uh, I what I find really interesting because I think there is people. I actually there's a guy that I know, and it really one of the things about me that I love and I also hate it sometimes is I can be like overly naive and kind of innocent about things. Like my
Yeah,
sister gives me crap all the time. She's like, "Did you seriously not pick that up?" I'm like, "No, I
I know,
didn't."
and it is a thing I love about you because I'm the opposite, and I'm very
Like,
cynical, and yeah, you have an innocence about you that I do appreciate.
thank you.
I
Yeah,
do appreciate
but it gets me in trouble sometimes.
that.
And what, but what bothers me is there are people that don't love and respect that, right? Like, and that's what I really appreciate about you and your wife Christina is like,
Hmm.
you guys know there's just certain movies that would kind of rob me of that
I
innocence.
know
You're
there's
like,
so
just
many
don't
movies I'm like, oh, I want you to see Christian Bale in a crazy role, but I'm also like, I don't have the heart to put her through that,
right?
so I don't want her to see it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of my we're not really friends now, we're more acquaintances, but her husband got really drunk one night and he's like, we're going to break you. Like, we're going to like get you over to the dark side. Cause I don't really drink. I don't. And there's certain like, you and I have talked about it, but I did drink for a while because I wanted to make sure me choosing not to drink came from a balanced
Yeah.
place and not from like but it's like, I like that about me. And so that when he said that, I'm like, you actually might be not a good person. Like, I'm
Yeah.
really hesitant to say people are good or bad, but after he said that, I'm like, your corruption might be past the point of rescue. And I very, very rarely say that. Like, I can't remember if I told you about this or not.
I don't.
But
I don't
I was
think you
doing.
did.
I don't think I did either. I was doing a mushroom trip one time, and I've mentioned it on this podcast, but I've done psychedelics for personal development reasons, and I had this mushroom trip about Michaela and her dead fish, meaning I spend way too much energy trying to bring things back from the dead, but it's a pointless endeavor because you can't, like, there's a lot of things we can do, and it was like the fish and the mushroom trip turned into these people's heads that I like am. There's a part of me that just wants to save their souls when it's like I'd be better just not, and I kind of felt that way about this, my friend's husband, about like
Right.
he's probably a dead fish and I just need to walk away. And what's interesting is like that's what I think is so evil about the Joker is like his goal was to turn Harvey into like he kind of reminds me of my friend's husband in a way of
Yeah.
like to
Well,
get the innocent to turn.
yeah. The great line is,
Yeah.
"Some men just want to watch the world burn." And Alfred says that. It's like, what the hell is up with this guy? And it's just like, some men just want to watch the world burn. And I just love that. That's the explanation for this character. He's just nut. He's just, yeah. And Heath Ledger's portrayal is just. I mean, was it 17 years later? I'm still in awe about it. Like, it's hypnotic. It's like, and it's crazy that like he's in this movie with like Gary Oldman and Christian Bale. They used to be doing these crazy roles and where you couldn't take your eyes off him, and now you got Heath Ledger coming in and just. I mean, it's just. It's truly remarkable. And did he have to die to do that? I don't know, but it's technically not his last movie. He did one movie where he actually died while they were shooting it, and it was right after this.
Oh.
So that people are saying like, there's like the whole thing that this movie drove him to, overdose on drugs, and I just think that's kind of nonsense. Maybe there's an aspect to it, but people that worked with him on the movie said he was not. He turned it off. He wasn't just in character the whole time. He turned it off, and he was fun to work with, and he wasn't like crazy like the whole time or anything like that. He just blew it out of the water. It's like it's one of those casting choices you would never think, like Heath Ledger is the Joker. What? Like back in when it was announced in maybe late 06, 07, everyone's like, what? Everyone was like freaking out. So like Heath Ledger, because he was like in rom-coms and stuff, so we couldn't like we couldn't like put our heads around it. It was crazy. And then we saw that first image. It was like let me pull it up. They released this image that shut everybody up. I'll just put it that way.
Really? Because what was he? So, A Knight's Tale, obviously, Brokeback Mountain. But just as someone who was not into movies at that time, like, what was he known for? Anything other than those two prior to the Joker, or?
So they released. Is this the image? I think it was this one. They dropped this on us.
Whoa.
This was like when they officially like got the makeup and everything.
That's insane.
And everyone's like, okay, we'll see how this
Yeah.
goes. And then they released a teaser trailer at the end of '07. It wasn't any footage. It was just like the bat symbol, and it was like breaking, and you just heard dialogue from the movie, and we heard his laugh for the first time, and everyone was like, this is gonna be incredible.
I saw that actually.
Did you?
I do remember the preview for that. Yeah, because especially me at that age, I was like, too scary, gotta go.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
like I'll never forget. I was in a movie with like friends of mine. We were still in, it was '07, so we were still in high school. And you just heard like all these lines, and then you just heard they ended it with him laughing, and everyone's like, "That's Heath Ledger." It was crazy. The marketing was so good in this movie; like it'll never be topped.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because that might be one of the things that I guess haunts me in the world, is that there are people, like, I think we've talked about it on the show before, but one of the questions that has kind of haunted me my whole life, I guess, is how did the boy become the man? How does the girl become the woman? And, because I don't think any of us want to believe that a child is born corrupt. Like when we see babies and we see children, none of us want to believe that. But then obviously you have people that become the Joker, for lack of a better terms. And I think that's probably one of the things that bothered me about this movie on a subconscious level that you just put into words, is that there are men that just want to watch the world burn, or women that just want to watch the world burn. And that bothers me.
I don't believe anyone's born evil. I'm sure he has a messed up backstory, but it would just ruin it to show it's that. Now, Warner Brothers did make a movie about the Joker's origin story, but it wasn't. And originally they wanted to, I think, make it this Joker's origin story, and luckily they decided to make it a different Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's a good movie. It's rough though. I don't think you would enjoy it too much, because it's not, a Joker origin story is not going to be a fun time. But yeah, like who knows? That's the thing, is we don't know, and that's what's great about it.
And I love, I did love how Alfred said that, and then he literally burned the money that they were after, and so it was a point. He was doing this just to watch the world burn. It was never about the money. It was never about, no, it's a great character. I mean, the performance, just because I knew Heath Ledger from A Knight's Tale, so I'm like, I want to see this guy come do this,
Yeah, we grew up with A Knight's Tale, and Christina liked that 10 Things I Hate About You, where he's just like, it's like a teen movie.
I haven't watched. No,
he's like the bad boy guy with long hair.
No, I've seen, when you said the 10, I've seen How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but that's Hudson and
different movie.
Yeah, different. The 10 Things I Hate About You, I think it's a red. I can see the movie poster in my head, but I haven't actually. Well, I'll watch it. I mean, I'll watch it. Whatever. We all need a corny chick flick to watch every now and again. But
it's based on a Shakespeare. I forget which one. But
Christina would know. But we wouldn't know.
I've only seen that movie multiple times because of her. So.
Yeah, I don't. So it's interesting that because I read some stuff. I don't think it's the character that got him either. I really don't. And I don't know why. I just was reading some stuff, and I think what you said when they said he could turn the character on and off, like when he saying how he was acting on set, I'm like, I really don't think it was the character that drove him.
No, I think it's the way he was choosing to take these parts and to live in them. Mess with his, and he had sleeping problems, all this stuff. But yeah, I think it's ridiculous that this character in particular was like the thing that killed him.
I always think it's more the thing, that's broken within, as far as like someone who will take a role that seriously more than likely has a wound of not being good enough. Right. And so they take it to the extreme of like, how do I prove that I'm good enough? And I more think that's what takes somebody out than what they're actually doing. Right. It's that wound within of like, I have to prove I'm good enough for this role. So I'm gonna they said he locked himself in a hotel room and journaled as the Joker. And
he had a journal, but he completed the journal and he went on to a different movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I think selfishly, I hate to admit this, but when I found out he died, I think I was like, did they finish shooting? Did they finish the movie? Because like, I was like looking at, because it's like so many movies like, oh, he died, but we need one more, like Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Hunger Games. He died before they shot, and there's like a CG of him like, they like CG'd his mouth smiling, and you just know it's bullshit,
Well, and unselfishly, that's arguably the best way to honor their life, though, because like this was their life's work, right? And
Yeah.
so for him to do this character and not finish would have been a dishonor to his legacy. So
Yeah. Well, so
there's
the
a
movie
selfish,
he
but
died during, it was called, what the hell is it called? The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and it's from a guy called Terry Gilliam, who was one of the Monty Python guys.
okay.
Do you know who that is?
I mean, I've heard the term Monty Python, but I can't put like an image to it.
Anyway,
other than-
Terry Gilliam's a very interesting director. I like a lot of his movies, but he's kind of cursed, and this kind of shit happened to him a lot. And his movies are always like, so they shot all the live action stuff with Ledger, and then there's like a thing they go through, and it's like a dream world. They didn't shoot any like that stuff with Ledger. He died before they did. So they were like, are we going to have to throw this movie away? Like, what are we going to do? So Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Colin Farrell all agreed to join the movie, finish his role, and they kind of wrote into the script that he looks different when he goes in this thing. And then they donated their earnings to his daughter, to Heath Ledger's daughter. But it kind of works. Like, the movie's pretty good, and it's cool the movie got to finish because he gives a good performance in it, and it's his last performance, and it's more on the line of his Knight's Tale role, I guess. It's like it's actually Heath Ledger. He's not behind him, but he's very theatrical, and it's just sad because you're just like, this guy was on his way to being like one of the top guys, But
how would you like? Is the movie worth watching? I guess would be the
yeah. It's a kind of whimsical movie. It's got Christopher Plummer, young Andrew Garfield before he did Social Network.
Is Jude Law, is that the guy that played Dumbledore in the
Yes, exactly. Him and Johnny Depp have a very small part. Colin Farrell has a bigger part. He was like the one that got most of the work, and he does a good job. It actually makes the movie kind of interesting.
Oh,
but it's also sad. Every time I watch it, I just go, I can picture Heath doing this, It should have, but it worked. It worked in its own. The movie's weird anyway, so it kind of works in the movie's universe,
That's kind of crazy because Johnny Depp played Grindelwald technically in the first.
Oh yeah,
two.
you're right.
Oh, that's
right.
weird. What would you even call those movies?
I don't think about them.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But
the
it's not
prequels, the Harry Potter
Potter
prequels.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the Fantastic
The disaster.
series.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I actually forget about them.
That's probably best for your mental health. But,
yeah.
I did have a soft spot for the first one because of Newt Scamander being like an animal geek. So I did kind of like, I did like the him going into the suitcase and having this zoo in the suitcase. Like, there was a party that's like, man, if magic was real, that's probably what I would do with it. I'd probably have a suitcase where I could go in with my zoo animals and just like chill. But that's interesting that they both did. That's what
yeah, you're right. They both played that character because Colin Farrell was a front. He wasn't like a real guy. He was Grindelwald in disguise.
Interesting. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I
think me and Christina probably made that connection before, but I forgot all about it because I don't watch those movies that much, or ever. I've seen them one time.
It's just cool that like it made me emotional when you were talking about that they donated everything to his daughter. Like, that's just the
Yeah, they did it
beautiful
for
side of
Heath.
Hollywood, you know.
You know, and it's worth watching, especially just for Heath Ledger's last performance. You know,
Yeah.
it's a cool movie. I like it. But I get Terry Gilliam's not for everyone. But it is a good movie. I think you'll get something out of it.
The other thing that's interesting that you said quite a while ago now, but I remember where and I wasn't into movies at the time, but I told
And
you
you were like 12 or 11? I guess you were like 12.
Yeah, I would have been 12 or 13, because what I told you, like, I really, really remember was we were at our volleyball regionals tournament when the People magazine came out, and it was like all the moms, like it's an
Yeah.
image very ingrained in my
We
brain, like
didn't
all the moms with their
back this was
People
'07,
magazine.
so this was no, sorry, February of '08. So no one, only a few people had iPhones, and I don't know how much information was, you know, so we were still very much in the magazine or saw it. I mean, it was even before the Facebook boom. I think the big Facebook boom was '09. So yeah, we were still magazines and radio. Like I heard it on the radio going to work.
Yeah, it's just an image ingrained in my brain of so our volleyball regionals is at Oregon State University where we're at. So I'm at Oregon State University where we would play. They have a huge track. So you walk in and there's kind of always a shadow because the indoor track is above the volleyball courts. And in the bleachers is just all these moms with Heath Ledger's face just on the front of this People magazine. And I don't remember. I think that was the first time I'd heard it, but one of the moms of one of my teammates was very impacted by his death. And what was interesting is what she kept, she's like, he was just so young. He was so young. Because I think you'd heard of these older actors overdosing.
Yeah. Well,
and
it's crazy to think. So he was 27 or 28. He was in
28.
And then what's weird is like I was 17. He was like 10 years older than me. So I'm thinking like, he's not that young, you know? And then you get to be 28 and you're like, he was young because I'm a child.
Yeah, because that would have been like passing away for me 2 years ago, and you, 7 years ago?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'm 35, and I'm like, I'm gonna be 10 years older than he ever was. If I make it to 38, it's crazy. It's just crazy when you're like at a certain age, it happens. Then you get to that age, and you surpass that age, and you're like, yeah, that's young. That's really.
Yeah, because if I was 12 or 13, in my head, I'm like, you know, he's however many years older than me. So I'm like, that's so,
yeah.
But, you know, her being twice his age probably was like, he's so young, and I just.
And you forget that he's that young, because I think he was abusing drugs for a while, because he looked older, didn't he? Like I when I watched The Dark Knight, I'm never like, this guy's 28 years old.
I was thinking about that because I finished The Dark Knight and then I looked up how old he was when he passed away, and I would have said this guy was at least 35, which I know he's got the makeup on, but even the way he's portraying himself, you wouldn't think the Joker is a 28.
He's in his 20s.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. I think it took me years to kind of realize that too, and be like, this dude was 27 maybe when he shot it. I was like, what did I do when I was 27?
Not that. None of us were. Hopefully, thank God. But yeah, and do you know how old Christian Bale would have been when they were filming?
Let me look. I forget how old he was in the first one. I want to say he was born in 74. Yeah, I know Christian Bale. He was born in 74. So he was 30 in Batman Begins.
Okay, so he's just a couple years older than Heath then.
Heath, yeah, I guess was born in late 70s. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
There's this movie you should watch. We're like off track, but there's this movie called Reign of Fire, and it's a dragon movie. It's a post-apocalyptic dragon movie, and it's got Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey, and it came out in 2002.
Okay.
And it's the most underrated movie. Like, we saw it in the theater when it came out because we're nerds and we wanted to see the dragon movie. But I didn't. That's the first Christian Bale thing I think I saw. But we didn't know who he was. We were like, who is this guy? And then like 3 years later, he was Batman, and we're like, the guy from Reign of Fire. But the movie's really good, and it'll make you see Matthew McConaughey completely differently. He's awesome in this movie. He's got a bald head. He's buff, and he's like this big military guy. And he's an American, and Bale is a British guy, and they have to join forces to fight these dragons. It's really good. It's such an underrated movie. It breaks my heart that it didn't do well when it came out, and there's still people that don't know about it because it's really good. And it kind of gave us Christian Bale. Like, I know he'd been around since he was a kid, but it was like a Hollywood movie that he was like, and he's good. And you see like you see his natural accent or something close to it, but you can see like his leadership qualities that I'm sure was something Christopher Nolan was looking at when he was considering him for Batman. It's a cool movie.
You know what we should do before we get back on track? We won't do it today, but we should do a video of like 10 underrated movies that people should go like.
Yeah, Rain of Fire's on there.
Yeah.
Well, Collateral's kind of like a lot of people know Collateral, but I feel like Rain of Fire is one of those that it's rare to find someone that's seen it. Collateral kind of it didn't do like that great at the box office, but it's still people know Collateral.
Oh, I got it. Side note, and then Landon and I are actually going to get back on track. But so speaking of random movies, because I remember I had sent my friend a list of movies that you'd sent me that I needed to watch, and he was like, no one talks about Sling Blade or whatever. And so I was thinking about it, and then I found out last night that for my sister's wedding, I will be walking down with Sling Blade.
The guy?
Yeah, do you remember the guy that you met when you were, and you're like, he reminds me of Dwight Yoakam from Sling Blade or whatever. So
Dwight Yoakam.
That's who I get to walk down the aisle with for my sister's wedding. Like, oh boy, this will be fun. But to get back to Batman, do you have anything else you want to say on Dark Knight Rise or Dark Knight before we segue into your favorite one of them all?
Well, The Dark Knight, I mean, it's just such an epic ending, right? And one that you don't expect.
Yeah.
Dark Knight taking the fall for Harvey, so his good self could, resonate, and he could still be the hero of the city. Yeah, it's like the perfect sacrifice for Batman to make. I think where the trilogy it kind of falls apart is this. It should have happened in the third one, and then it also that makes me not like the third one because they had to like do that again, but in a different way, and it's kind of like we just saw this, like you already did this. But yeah, The Dark Knight is just the best. I mean, it's just there's something about it. Do you agree?
I definitely, just because of the character stuff, would put Batman Begins, but I first in my like little rating. But I can't imagine watching Batman Begins without.
Yeah, they go together really good. It's like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Those two movies are one movie essentially.
Yeah, and there's something about The Dark Knight that I agree. There's just something about it that we hadn't. Well, so what was so whenever I watch movies, this is a joke, but I'm always like, how's this going to impact Landon and I's friendship? Because like these movies had a bigger impact on me than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And, Lord of the Rings was life-changing, and even like we've talked about as a trilogy, it's better because the third one actually like stands, and we'll get into that in a different day. But yeah, there was something about both of these movies that just, like I said at the beginning, just impacted me on like a soul level, which was very interesting for me. But yeah, it's like I said, because of the story stuff, I'd put Batman Begins first, but The Dark Knight itself, and with the performances and just the story, and I mean, these movies are and even like I love having I'm not as great speaking of that, the Lucius Fox character, the more I watch these superhero movies, I'm like, it's so funny what Brad Bird writing The Incredibles, because even Lucius Fox from Batman, but then Lucius from I'm like, you took Morgan Freeman's characters and just put it in The Incredible or something. I don't know if Lucius was a character in.
Lucius is from the comics, and actually Incredibles is before Batman Begins, so.
But he probably.
I don't know. He probably did. Yeah.
I mean, that's not a very common name, right? Unless I'm just. I mean,
Not
I've never been
really,
able.
but yeah, Lucius Fox is from the comics for sure.
Yeah, and I just thought that was funny. But anyway, yeah, yeah, no, I agree.
And
It's a great movie.
as time goes by, like I said, like there's certain things about Batman Begins I appreciate more.
Hmm.
Oh, fly in your head.
I know. I'm like I have a.
but but the Dark Knight, just because I was there, man. I don't know.
Mhm.
I just live in that hype all the time.
And the opening scene from The Dark Knight is
Yeah, it's so good.
you can't beat it. I mean, even just the visual of because like I didn't know this, not just again not watching the movies, and I didn't put two and two together because I genuinely didn't think the Joker would be a part of the bank robbery, and so having him stand there with the mask in his hand, but we're just seeing the backside of him, and then obviously when the bus comes in, it gets revealed that that is the Joker. I mean, that opening scene just had me on the edge of my seat of and them talking about the Joker and keeping the mystery. But then we got the Joker card at the end of Batman Begins, so it's like we know it's coming. No, it.
Yeah, and when they did the Joker card in the end of Batman Begins, I think they were like they didn't know where the story was going. They just did that.
Mm,
I mean, I'm sure they were like because Joker hadn't been in a live. Now Joker's been like in so many things since The Dark Knight came out, but before that, it was just the Jack Nicholson Joker that was in like a live action thing.
mm,
So it was like, oh my god, like we're gonna see the Joker again, like a different take on the Joker. It was crazy, and we had 3 years. We had to wait for that for 3 years. When we saw it in the theater, you got to go to the next one.
that's the one thing I enjoy about being so late to the party is I don't like have to wait to like I can finish it and I don't have this 3 year time gap of oh my gosh what's gonna happen. So I do appreciate that, but
Oh yeah, this is my
uh,
background, by the way.
right now, yeah.
That poster, when that poster came out, that was
That
cool.
poster is no it it's still just hard to it's hard for me to wrap my brain around that is Heath Ledger, like it
Oh
really
yeah,
even
I think that's what when
yeah
we watch it, we're just like, this is not Heath Ledger. Like, it is, but it isn't.
even the scene where he goes into Bruce Wayne's, I think it would be the penthouse or whatever, and he grabs the olive and is just like chewing it as he's walking around. I'm just
Hmm.
like that it's just like such a small subtle detail,
Yeah.
but even just like
Well, his whole body is like the way he carries himself is different than how he actually carries himself and everything like that.
well, and even when every time he's caught, like, when Gordon, he's like, I just need a little more time. Like, it's not rattle. I mean, that's what almost makes him the psychopath, right? Is he's never
Yeah.
rattled and like the clapping in the jail. I mean, just
Yeah.
there's so many small details. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
Oh yeah, it's next level stuff.
mhm. Yeah. So, shall we? Okay, before we talk about what we don't like about the movie, I think we should say something we do appreciate about The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I mean the good stuff about The Dark Knight Rises is there was a more IMAX footage. More of the movie was shot in IMAX cameras. Um, most of the cast from the other two movies are back. Um,
Something about the story. You can find one
um,
thing.
story wise, it's my least favorite part of the movie's story.
Sorry.
Um, the only part I like of this movie, honestly, is when he becomes Batman again, and like the reveal of him in the underground thing where he like takes the guy out who's about to shoot him or whatever, and then there's like that shot of him on the bike, and the music plays. Like in the theater, I was like, yes, but and then when I watched the movie, that's the only part of the movie I like is that whole like scene where the cops are chasing him, and then he gets in this thing and flies out. When he becomes Batman again,
Yeah.
and then pretty much up to the part where he gets his back broke, I like that. Everything else I don't like. Like getting to that point I didn't like, and getting out of that point I didn't like. That's pretty much how I feel about The Dark Knight Rises.
And that's a wrap for today, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The prologue, the plane sequence that opens the movie is cool, and they did a lot of it for real, so it's like technically impressive. But when it gets to like the third act and you realize what they were doing, you're like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it definitely ruins the mystique of that scene. Because again, I saw that ahead of Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. At the end of 2011, they played that scene, and we didn't know what the hell the context was, and we were like, that looks like the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then when you see the movie and it gets to the part where they explain what was going on in that scene, you're like, what? Like, you had to do that on an airplane? But it looks cool, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are some of the highlights for you?
That was my favorite of, and you and I kind of talked about it on the phone yesterday, but there's this concept with grief that is specifically grief. There's other things too, but it'll always come back to grief. Of when you're grieving, there's two parts of grief. There's the grief of whatever you actually lost, but then there's the grief of an identity. So you're no longer the person like with this thing, whatever the grief is. So there's always like two parts to grief, the loss and then the identity that comes with the loss. And I did find that to be very interesting, you know, because whether I've obviously shared my thing with Rachel, that was the person he loved the most. So he's gone through this grief. So it is very interesting that he had the double grief, right? Mm-hmm. The grief of the loss of Rachel, the grief of Batman, and then having to become Batman again. I did really love that, of what you just said. That is my favorite part of him having to become Batman again, but I wish it would have been in like the end of the first act or something.
I don't know why they went with the 8-year time jump. I thought that was just, I don't get it. The movie's 4 years after the second one. Why not just make it 4 years? Why is he hobbled? Why he's like hobbled he's like walking with a cane, and then he just puts a thing on his knee and he's ready to go again. It's just like, what? It's just every time I watch the movie, I'm just like, I don't, it just annoys me. So
what do you think the symbolism with Catwoman having his mom's pearls? Like, what was the point of that? I was kind of wondering about that.
Not sure. I think it's just, I don't really know, or care maybe.
Yeah.
Just the vibe of this movie is just weird. And then the thing about like when there's 3 movies like this, the Spider-Man movies that do this too, they follow a certain structure, and it just becomes so redundant by the third one. It's like, oh, someone's taking over Gotham again. Oh, Mary Jane got kidnapped by the bad guy again. Like, you can get away with it in a sequel, but when you get to the third one and it's just the same thing again, it's like, you know, I think that's the biggest problem with these trilogies. And Star Wars is the same thing. Return of the Jedi. Oh, we have to blow up a Death Star again. Oh, we have to do. It's like it becomes redundant, and you're not going to top the second one. The second one's always the best, and the third one's always the weakest.
I felt that way. Like in the third one, I'm sick of hearing about the city.
Yeah,
like,
it's and I get that's the Batman thing, but to me, it just felt like. The Dark Knight was such a departure from what we expected a sequel to Batman Begins to be. They did what Star Wars did. They went like a completely different direction with Empire Strikes Back. Like those movies, they're so similar. How like you get this cool Batman origin story, then you get this crazy like just Gotham is like under siege, but it's like internal, and then you get to the third one, and it's like, okay, let's go back to Bruce. What's going on with Bruce? But we're also there's another bad guy coming to take control of the city, and it's just like, and it's like the ticking clock is the nuclear bomb. It's just like we've seen this before. Like it's not. and then so in the Dark Knight, he already sacrificed in a way himself to save the city, right, for the better of the city. So this one, of course, it's like, oh, he's gonna sacrifice his life. But then they play with you, like, did he actually die or did he get out? You don't really know, and it's like, I feel like Christopher Nolan wanted him to sacrifice his life, but the studio was probably like, we don't really want Batman to blow up, so they kind of did it in an ambiguous way, where Michael Caine, like, it is a fantasy of his. He says, I want to see you happy. I go to this thing and I fantasize about seeing you there. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that was just his fantasy.
No, it's not.
And to me, I always thought this. I'm like, it doesn't, like, you don't show him in the cockpit right before it blows up if that's not what happened. You just don't do that.
But then there's the weird thing with like Lucius' character where they say he fixed the autopilot.
I know, and which I still don't get. What does that even mean? It doesn't show, like, at least show us a little flashback of how he did it.
No, I
don't.
know,
I hate the movie. Just talking about it makes me mad.
I know. That's why I'm like, we're gonna touch on it, but we're not gonna beat this dead horse like too much.
I know.
But
Christina hates when me and my brother get together because all we talk about is how much we hate the Dark Knight Rise, or just the problems we have with it. Not so much that we hate it, but just the problems we have with it. And she's just like, I've heard this so many times. And I'm like, I know, but it's like, it's a tragedy in my life that this wasn't the best trilogy ever.
I know. I think for me, like, I always think in a perfect world, what would have happened? And for me, in a perfect world, Heath Ledger would still be alive and we would have saw the ending of, it's kind of the, like what we talked about, it's the Voldemort Harry Potter thing. Neither one can live while the other survives. So, like, that's what I would have wanted to see in a third movie.
But then it's like, even if the Joker was there, like, what would it entail? More Joker taking over the city? Like, I don't know.
How he got out of jail, because we all know he would have got out of jail.
Oh, he gets, in the comics and the cartoon, he gets out of jail all the time. I mean, it's just, he gets out of Arkham.
No, I'm just saying, as someone new, like, what I would have wanted to see in a perfect world, and then.
Oh, trust me, we went through we were like in denial. We were all saying like, oh, maybe they'll recast the Joker, and we were like, it was a very weird time when Heath Ledger died, and then the movie came out, and then we just wanted more Joker, and we were trying to figure out a way. Everyone was trying to figure out a way how they could do it, but obviously it wouldn't have worked. But yeah, and then my problems with the character of Bane, like, he's such a big presence in the comics, and it's just like Tom Hardy. I love Tom Hardy, but like, he's too short for this character, and they could have made him look bigger, but they literally have shots where he's looking in Batman's eyes and Batman's taller than him. It's like, that's not Bane. Like, and there's a whole thing where his mask was supposed to give him this stuff called venom that makes him like juiced up and crazy, but in this movie it's just like, oh, he's in constant pain, and this makes it's like, why does it look like that? I don't know.
I know. We'll wrap this one up, but I did have a question that I had texted you that I wanted. What was the point of, so when Catwoman or whatever, like, and that whole thing, and then they end up saving whatever. But thank you for saying that Christopher Nolan's woman characters, because I got a problem with like all these women. It's a problem. But what? The sound when Bane was beating up Batman, they changed the sound.
What sound? What do you mean?
I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was almost like you had earmuffs on during the fighting scene. Like, the sound.
Well, another problem Christopher Nolan's criticized a lot for is you can't, like, there's always a character with some mask on and you can't understand what he's saying. So originally he recorded the actor talking through the mask, and no one could understand what he was saying, so they had to go and redub it. But I don't. But you still can't understand Bane half the time anyway. Christopher Nolan has like an obsession with like muffled dialogue on certain characters.
It felt like, and maybe the speakers, I don't think so, because I didn't notice it in any of the other movies, because I was like, maybe the speakers, like, because I did watch it on the big TV. I didn't watch this one on my laptop. But it was almost like the punches, like, and this might be, so I haven't told you about that. I don't really tell anybody about this, apparently. I'm just going to spill it. I have this reoccurring, like, bad dream that when I, like, go to punch something, my hand breaks.
Oh, your hand
Yeah,
breaks?
like I hit it and my hand just falls. Like I
I
can't
have a thing
actually.
where I'm like, it's always me defending myself, but
Yeah.
when I go to punch someone, it like doesn't connect. It's like I have no strength, and like it drives me
Yes.
nuts. And I have ones where I go to shoot somebody. It's all self defense, but I go to shoot someone or something, and the gun doesn't like work. That's got to be a
Uh,
psychological thing.
it is. It's yeah, no, believe me, I've done a bunch of like dream interpretation because I've had it since I was really young.
I've
But
always there. It's not like all the time, but I've had them since I was young, where like I'm trying to fight someone and I just can't like hit them. It's just like doesn't like do anything.
yeah, so I guess for me it wouldn't be my hand breaks, but it's like yeah, my hand makes contact and it just like falls.
Yeah,
Like there's no
yeah.
power, there's no whatever.
Hmm.
And I felt that way in this scene, so maybe that's why it was getting to me. Maybe I was getting like, but like I swear the sound is like muffled in
Hmm.
that scene. Like, so I know you don't love that movie, but if you could rewatch it and just tell me if you pick that
I
up,
think I
that'd
know
be
what you're talking about, but also I don't know if you have a subwoofer. Like
mm,
a lot of times, if you don't have a subwoofer, that sound that's supposed to go out of the subwoofer doesn't exist, and I know his movies are very bassy, and so when I watch that scene, it's like it's very bass. So I don't know. It could be something like to do with
oh,
that.
that could no, that could be a possibility. So I'll have to rewatch it on.
Or watch it with the headphones maybe and see if it's the same. I don't know.
Oh no, I will. Yeah. Okay. Well, do we have anything else to say on The Dark Knight Rises? Or
You know, it's just not very good. I mean, and there's people that like it and whatever, but I think it's entertaining enough to watch. But it sucks that it's not the conclusion that this trilogy deserved. Um, I just feel like the third act just stinks to me. I mean,
yeah.
the whole every time there's a reveal that a character is actually a bad guy, and also like Marianne Cotillard, she's a great actress. I mean, but she was not the right person for this role. She could like it's so comical when she's doing the whole like reveal that it's like I don't believe you for a second. This is like the worst performance. And there's a joke around the internet, her death scene when she's in the truck and she just kind of it's like the
Oh.
worst death scene
Oh.
ever. And it's like, how did you
Yeah.
not take another take of it? She just goes, it's so
Uh,
bad.
yeah, and I've told Landon that I'm going with the story that Bruce Wayne lives, and he actually is. He met Alfred at that little cafe just to show him that he was okay.
Yeah,
I'm going with that
that's
one.
why they did it this way, so you
Yeah,
could choose your own adventure.
which
And I'm
I
telling you, he's dead.
which I typically hate. But no, but I have to go with this because I'm sick, and I told Landon this. I'm sick of watching movies where Christian Bale dies, so I have to choose the ending where Christian Bale lives because
You
the
can choose it if
main.
you want, but it's not real.
Yeah, I'm going with Delulu as the Salulu here because the three movies I've watched with Christian Bale are unfortunately the Thor movie, which Landon and I just
Oh,
love with a passion, where he dies. Then
well,
you have me watch Ford versus Ferrari, and I had no idea that Ken Miles doesn't make it. And I watched this movie with my younger cousin, who's 12 years younger than me, but he's super into racing. He's super like he just knows that world, like movies, and like I know horses. He whatever. So we're sitting there, and we have his little sisters with us. Everyone's falling asleep, but Caden and myself. And I have again, with not knowing Batman's story, I have no idea how Ken Miles' story ends. And we're sitting there, and I'm like, my jaw is on the floor. Like, I'm in complete shock that this man just died in a testing car crash. And I'm like, staring at TV, and I said, did he just die? And Caden, in all of his glory, yep, he's dead. And I'm like, thanks, Caden. I'm in shock, and
they
you're over there
foreshadowed
just
it
like,
pretty
yep.
good earlier too in the
Yeah,
movie.
back to that me being oblivious to certain things.
I mean, I didn't know who Ken Miles was. I didn't. It's one of those things I didn't know he's gonna die, but like when he does die, you're like, oh, they foreshadowed it. I should have seen this coming.
No, I didn't. So I have to go with the choose your own adventure, that he's actually there, letting Alfred know he's fine, because I can't do 3 for 3 on the Christian Bale's ending. I told Landon, I said, not that Landon's like looking for this, but one of the things I was not expecting, because I've only seen Christian Bale prior to this in the Ken Miles story, and he's pretty scruffy. And then in Thor, he's
Yeah.
whatever he is. And I did not expect him to be this attractive in Batman, and so that didn't hurt my love for the movie at all. But I know
Yeah,
Landon's
I mean,
big concern
you gotta
is
be.
not how good Christian Bale looks. So
Yeah, he's again, he's did some crazy movies, crazy performances when he was younger.
it's crazy to think when you said how thin he was and how good he looks in.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. And he's done that transformation, not as drastic, but like he's done. He would get skinny and then he would get fat and then he would get in shape. Like he's crazy. He's in the movie he won the Oscar for. It's called The Fighter. He doesn't die in it, so you're safe. But he plays like a crackhead, and he's really funny in it. But he got all skinny again, and he's like, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm done with. I told Landon, I'm like, I'm done with movies from Christian Bale's character.
I know. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I think you've watched like the 3 where he dies, because he isn't. Oh wait, did you see 3:10 to Yuma with him? What was the third one that he dies in?
If he actually did, I'm not choosing this ending, but
you're talking about
technically
Thor.
If he died in the Dark Knight Rises,
Well, you'd like
that would
3:10 to
be
Yuma.
3. I kind of. Is there 2 3:10 to
Yeah, there's
Yuma?
like an old one and there's a new one. And
I've seen the old one.
Him and Russell Crowe are in the remake.
Okay, I've seen the old one. I have not seen the Christian Bale, Russell Crowe.
You should check it out.
Does he make it, or am I not allowed to know?
I don't know.
He doesn't.
Well, you can decide. It's choose your own adventure. I don't know.
Well, so they, you and I have talked about this, but they did that with the Blacklist, because back in the day, my shows, when I was really young, my shows were Monk. I didn't watch this show, but they did the same thing. House. Do you remember that TV show?
Yes.
So that was kind of the thing with both of those shows, is like Monk could solve everybody else's case except his own wife's that was murdered. And then, which the ending was debatable. And then House, he could solve everybody else's health problem but his own. But then the finale, like the last episode ever done, Monk gets to solve Trudy's case, which was his wife that was murdered. And then House finally solves his thing. And that's like, so the payoff of spending all these years with the same show was you finally got the question answered. So me being oblivious again thinks they're going to do this with the Blacklist. I've spent 10 years of my life. That show started when I was 16 years old and did not end till 3 or 4 years ago when I was no longer 16, but we're not going to do the math. So I'm thinking, I finally get to know Reddington's real identity. Oh no, they did a choose your own adventure. I know I texted you about this, like, how long am I going to be mad about this? And your response, one word, was forever. Guess what? We're 4 or 5 years past, and I'm still
How long ago did Dark Knight Rises come out?
I know.
I know. You learn to accept it, but it doesn't. It's like grieving. You're like you're in the stage of acceptance, but you're still not happy about it. It's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, no, it's like
I wish I could just be one of those people that's just like, The Dark Knight Rises is awesome. I love this trilogy. I wish I was like that, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm clearly, because I'm still complaining over the Blacklist. There's parts of it, like I said, I can accept, and I think it's making it more tolerable that I'm choosing my own adventure as far as he's still alive. If I go to the that he's gone and Alfred's hallucinating, I'm gonna get too upset about it. So, and it's not even I guess it would be okay for the character to sacrifice himself, and
well, there's the line where he goes. She's like, why are you doing this? You've given them everything. And he goes, not everything, not yet. Which could be just like a false foreshadowing. I mean, it's one of like so Christopher Nolan did the same thing in Inception. Inception was famous for the movies about these, they go into dreams, and then some of them get so lost they don't know what's real, what's a dream. And he has this thing that he spins, and it's a top, and it keeps spinning. And if he's in the dream world, it just keeps spinning. But if he's in the real world, it'll topple. So the whole movie is him about trying to get back to his family. He has to do this thing for this guy in his dream. You should watch it. It's a Christopher Nolan movie you should watch, but it's very convoluted. And anyway, the end of the movie, he gets home, and Michael Caine is there too, because it's Christopher Nolan. But he gets home and he spins his top, and then he sees his kids, and he goes to his kids, and the camera pans down to the top, and it kind of goes, and then it goes to black. So you don't know, did it topple or is it still going? And so Christopher Nolan likes doing that with the audience. So I'm like, this is the movie he made after Inception. He's doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I might just let you tell me Inception is good, and I might just go with it. I might not get emotionally involved in that, and just
no. But you should watch The Prestige, though. The Prestige was made in between Begins and Dark Knight, and it has Christian Bale and Michael Caine, and it's just a really good movie. So check it out. Okay. It feels like Batman Begins in a way. Like it has the same vibe. So it's like when it came out, it was like a year after Batman Begins, and I was like, hell yeah, we get another Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan movie.
I think I've never really thought about it this way, but I think this is probably why I take so long to watch. So Landon gave me a movie list in 2019, and I don't even know that I've made it halfway through. Like we're getting there.
No, but I'm like, if you go, you watch the Batman movie. So if you want more from the same people, watch The Prestige.
Yes. And this is the thing. I get so emotionally involved. Like, you know, how you're saying it's taking you this long to like get over. I get so emotionally involved. It's like I have to like deal with all this emotions before I can
well, then you'll watch Batman Begins like 100 times in a row.
At least. Yeah. At least. Yeah. Yeah. I can, yesterday, I let's just say I don't really have to have Back to the Future on for me to quote every line in the movie. Like I can pretty much do it without the movie. And even my sister was giving me crap because I just do that. I put them on in the background. I'm pretty auditory. I can pick the So give me a couple weeks and I'll be doing that with Batman. I won't need I won't need the movie to say the lines. So that thank you for putting me through this emotional turmoil. No, I'm kidding. But
I know I'm running out of movies to show you that you'll like. I think I got to think of the next one.
How is our list? I should check our list to see how we're doing. And actually, we're going to. I'm going to make that list public at some point. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I think this is a list everyone should
I got to probably go through that list. There's probably some. I think I made it before I knew you fully, so there's probably some movies that would like disturb you or wreck you emotionally.
I think you did pretty good. These movies are pretty they just had a very. I think you and I were both talking about it, but no, I'm joking, but I'm not. Like I'm very thankful that you got me to watch these movies because they did. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to be.
You're thinking like Batman, like. You know, superhero.
There is just something different about them, though.
There is,
yeah. Than even Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Like, there is just something different. And I'll probably have to watch it a few more times before I can articulate it fully. But there is something profoundly different about these movies than the other ones you've had me watch.
Definitely.
And maybe what you said, maybe part of it is it's similar because I didn't really when I finally watched the Marvel movies, I didn't love the character backstories as much as I thought I would. Like I haven't really went back to Iron Man. Like I don't really.
That's the thing when Iron Man and Dark Knight came out 2 months apart. Iron Man came out in May and Dark Knight came out in July. And when I saw Iron Man, I was like, whatever. Like everyone was freaking out about it, and I was like, that was like. Mid-tier superhero for me. I don't get me wrong. There's Robert Downey Jr. was great, and it had a vibe to it. But like, I just wanted to watch The Dark Knight, and I was like, I want that. That was the DC like darker stuff was always more my jam than like the Marvel formulaic more kind of thing. So I was kind of an Iron Man hater, really until Avengers came out, and I appreciated the character Tony Stark more, but I was just kind of annoyed with him.
That's about the Marvel movies. I love the Avengers when all of them come together more than I like the one-off like backstories. And it is very impressive how they, especially when we get to Infinity War and Endgame, how they brought all these character stories into like love that.
That stuff was well done, but it's different than what the Dark Knight is. You know, it's a completely different thing.
Because I'd watch these movies reviewers online that would say like, oh, Batman over Marvel any day. Like, and I didn't get it. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. So I get it.
I loved Spider-Man mainly because when the movie came out, there just hadn't been anything like that. And I also, because I was young and I always connected with the Peter Parker character because he was like, you know,
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah, well, just the character in general, but the Tobey Maguire one, you know, I saw it. I was starting middle school, so I got like the angst and the like stuff. I just connected with the character, and but Batman was always kind of my main jam since I was a kid. So I don't know. Yeah. So we ended at that. My dog needs to go out.
Well, thank you very much for Charlie. Thank you very much for coming back today, and thank you for getting me on the Batman bandwagon. So here we are.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, what's our next mission? Do we have one?
I don't know. We never did the final reckoning, though. Speaking of mission.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to do the final reckoning. So we'll be back. We'll figure it out, and then we'll be back. So thank you,
The Dark Knight Rises of the Mission Impossible series. Final reckoning.
I was thinking about that, actually. I was thinking about that. I literally had the same thought. I'm like, I feel like the final reckoning is our Dark Knight Rises. And that's why we haven't done it yet. So, yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you. And we will return with another movie deep dive. Thank you for listening to another movie deep dive with my friend Landon and myself. I felt like the episode just kind of ended, so I wanted to jump back on here and give a little bit better conclusion. And I thought what would be best to end this episode with is, for me, which this is one of my favorite words, is to extrapolate on why I do these episodes, but then also how you can use these episodes as a self-discovery tool. Because yes, there's a piece of movies that's for enjoyment and fun and entertainment, and that's equally as important. And we can also, I don't like the old school saying of the whole two birds with one stone saying, if you will, but for lack of a better term, how you can get the best bang for your buck, get two birds with one stone, if you will, is we can use movies as fun entertainment, but they can also be used as a self-discovery tool, as a self-development and personal development tool, because where our trauma and patterns and habits and beliefs and everything is stored is in our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind speaks in words. Our subconscious mind speaks in feelings and images. And what do movies do? They invoke feelings and images. And there's also, to be honest with you, I'm a creative at heart, and movies are the ultimate form of creativity, in my opinion, because they combine all the arts into one form. And so there are all of these reasons where it does ultimately tie into what I do, but what I was insecure about for a long time is when I first got started in marketing, specifically online marketing, it was niche down, only talk about your niche, don't stray off and talk about other topics. So I kept getting in my head about like, well, how does Landon and I doing these movie deep dives like tie into what I do? And originally what I ultimately decided is it is that fun piece. This is fun for me to do. I enjoy doing it. And so Landon and I are going to talk about it. And then I had brought that up to Landon one day, like, I feel insecure about this because I don't know if it really ties into what I do. And he's like, Michaela, every time we talk about this stuff, you always tie it back into what you do. And I just knew he was right. You know, there's something when someone just says something that's true, you just don't argue with it because it's true. It's just like, period. And really, after he said that was when I really got on this concept of, oh my gosh, we can really use movies as a personal development tool, because there's certain films, if they're your favorite character and you connect with them, you're on your own. But like certain movies, the movies that I don't watch, that Landon and I kind of mentioned, if those are your favorite movies and your favorite characters, I can't really help you. Some scary, terror, murderous things. Anyway. other movies where, you know, we talk about Frodo in Lord of the Rings or Luke in Star Wars and all these other things, it is the hero's journey. And ultimately, we're all living out our hero's journey, but different characters have different traits, they have different struggles. And just what if the character that you resonate with most actually has the same struggles that you have and the same hurdles that you have to overcome, and we can use these characters and we can use these stories to figure out, like, okay, this is how that character did it. What if I apply this to my own life? Like, what if I use these insights? And kind of what we talked about in the episode is I had realized like anger was like the safe emotion for me to feel, and that anger was covering up something. And then lo and behold, I watch Batman and it's like, oh my gosh, it is guilt. This is actually something that I share with this character, and why it resonated with me so deeply, because guilt is a very uncomfortable emotion for me. Anger's not. I don't love being angry, but I'm not uncomfortable in anger. But guilt, on the other hand, I'm very uncomfortable with. I feel like I want to crawl out of my skin. So is it that I've started, you know, at some point I'd start to use anger to hide my guilt? And the answer is yes. Well, that answer got revealed to me in Batman and Batman Begins. So yes, these movies can be of just a very fun thing to do, something we go do with our friends, something we do with community, and we can also use them as a very powerful tool. So just those are just the reasons that I do these episodes, and I love these episodes, and they mean so much to me. So I hope they mean as much to you as they do to me. I hope you can learn something more about the film industry from Landon and him knowing the behind the scenes and sharing the film stuff. And then again, I'm bringing in the my take, which is more of the spiritual, personal development, emotional healing side of things. So I am just so honored you're here. I love doing these episodes. Thank you for being here. If you feel so called, I would be absolutely honored if you would subscribe to the show, whether you're on YouTube or podcast. And if you feel extra called, I would be so honored if you could leave a review. That just helps. And if you're on YouTube, leave a comment about what you loved most about the show, and tell us, if we haven't mentioned a movie that you think we should watch, what movie should we do next? But yeah, thank you for being here, and we will talk to you next time.